Oh, really?
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm Shivangi from MyCaptain. We just waiting for a couple of more people to join in and we'll begin, right? Thank you. Okay, so I think we'll start. Good evening, everybody, and I'm Shivangi from MyCaptain, and I welcome you to yet another live session organized by MyCaptain. Today we'll be discussing about the topic running a business in times of COVID, and we have the guest of the evening is Vansh Srivastava. A very good evening, sir. How are you? Hello.
One sec. Yeah, am I audible now?
Hello.
Am I not audible?
Hello.
Okay, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sure. So, what time do we expect to start the session?
Yeah, we'll just be beginning. I was just welcoming everybody. So I'm Shivangi from MyCaptain, and I welcome you to another live session hosted by MyCaptain. Today we'll be discussing about how to run a business in times of COVID, and the guest of the evening is Mr. Vansh Srivastava, who is a senior associate at Zomato. Good evening, sir. I welcome you to this webinar.
Okay, hi. Will you? Okay, one second.
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm sorry. It's like the Wi-Fi connection is really bad right now because there's no electricity, and I have connected to my phone basically. So there is a little bit of a lag in the video. I hope it gets resolved as soon as possible.
Let's just begin.
Okay, yeah, sure. So, hi everyone. I am Vansh Srivastava and I'm working at Zomato as of now, as you might have heard. Shivangi just told you. And so basically a little bit about myself. My hometown is in Kanpur and I've studied in an ICC board school. I've completed my engineering from Noida and then I worked here and there. Like I worked at a few companies including Tech Mahindra. Then I did a few jobs where I was trying to figure out which job would be the best for me. And then I landed into Zomato, where I've been working for about 3 years now. So my role in Zomato started with, let's say, I started working in the content team, and I had a little bit of knowledge about programming and everything. So these guys promoted me, and they sent me to work with the data team and the operations team. And since then, I'm working with the data and operations team, and I'm handling data and operations over here. So my product that is there, like the product which I'm working with for Zomato, is food hygiene rating. Hello. Just let me know when I'm not audible. Okay. Just send me a text or something. Okay. Sorry for the interruption. Yeah. So I was saying that I am working with this product called Food Hygiene Ratings at Zomato, and it's there for promoting hygiene and safety protocols among restaurants. So whenever you order food from any restaurant, then we take care that the kitchen is sanitized and they follow all protocols that are there by FSSAI and everything. So these are the things that we do. So that's my job at Zomato, and my job is also to maximize it and send it, like have it spread across all restaurants so that we get safe and hygienic food delivered to every user. So that's about that. My interest would be, you can say, like I like to read and write sometimes. I really like to listen to music. I like to go for a walk. These are my basic interests, I can say. Apart from that, sometimes I like to study things which just improve your general knowledge in general, like history or geography. So I guess that's about that. That gets included in reading anyway. So yeah, this.
Okay, that's great to know. So before we begin further, I just want to say that this webinar is in collaboration with Qfuss. Qfuss is a community of experts who host live session shows, and they can guide you through your journey. They have mentors which will help you become professional in your field. So if you're interested in looking more for it, I'll put the link in the chat box below. So before we begin, just a couple of rules. So if you have any questions regarding the webinar which you want me to complete, so you can put it in the question answer box which you see in the lower panel of your screen. Other than that, if it's any technical query, you can put it in the chat box and make sure it. Are you playing your video because you can't see it?
Okay. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yes, Shivangi, have you asked something?
I said, are you playing your video because we can't see you?
All right. Okay. Sure.
Shall we begin?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah. Tell me. Hello.
Shall we begin?
Yes. Yes. Sure. So.
So you've told us about your interests, you've told how you work. So how has been your experience working with Zomato in the past 2 years?
My experience with Zomato, you asked. Okay, so Zomato is a really
Yes.
great company to work with, and like it is a really great company. I worked in Tech Mahindra for 6 months, and I've been working here for 3 years, and it has been a really good experience. Like you get a lot of exposure basically, and you get to work with a lot of new people, with a lot of people who are actually really talented at their work. So all in all, this work has been really amazing, and it also helps you learn new things. So sort of like, I've started in some team and now I've been moved to another team, so I have to learn that team's work. And then I've been moved to another role, so you have to learn that role's work. So it's a lot of things that you do every day, and I mean there is no stagnant point in your job at any point of time. So you keep learning, which is always a good thing over here. And I mean learning at this point of time is really crucial, I guess. So the more the better. So that's why my job has been really good. I've been surrounded by great people who are really good at their jobs, and they encourage me to do new things. They help me if I want to learn anything new. So in more than one ways, this job has been really great.
Okay. So here for you working in data and operations, right? So how is and how did you come into the
Yeah.
field?
Okay. So this role is a mix of let's say strategy and data analysis. Like, uh, so what happens is, uh, hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So there's something wrong with the screen, I guess. So, but anyway, like my role is about data and operations, and it's a mix of strategy and data analysis. So what you have to basically do is like, for example, if you're working with the sales team, then you figure out data where you can expand the reach of the product and everything, and then you target those specific things. So this is basically the job of any data analyst to analyze the data for the benefit of the product, and so that's basically that. And apart from that, operations is just small things that you do every day to run the product. Like even writing emails is part of the job. Even talking to merchants and users is part of the job. So these are things that come into operation. So it's basically like 2 3 people handling the entire product sort of thing. And that's all. So yeah, that's pretty much it about it. Then like you also have to deal with the tech people, then you deal with the product people, stuff like that.
This
How did I land up in the job?
Sorry, I think she's facing a little bit of connection issues. Yes, so can you
Okay.
tell us a little about the day in your life? So what exactly you do? Because a lot of people are interested in taking up the data and operations role. So what
Yeah.
exactly does a day in your life look like?
Okay. So like you begin with dealing with like there are small tasks as well as there are huge tasks. Okay. So some days it'll be like you're dealing with only the huge tasks, and some days it's like you're dealing only with the small tasks. And you cannot really say if a day will be hectic or if it will be very easy. So you start the day, you finish all the small tasks first, like you're dealing with the agencies, you're dealing with the users and merchants or the sales team. You end those tasks first, and then there are tasks where you need designing the product or you need to make certain changes to the product. These are the tasks which take a bit of time, and they are spread over the week or over 15 days or so. So that's what keeps on happening in the background. So that's what a typical day is basically like, a combination of small tasks and big tasks. So that's what.
That sounds very interesting. You have experience working with new products and focusing on data and product operations. So has
Yeah.
COVID affected the food industry, and what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, COVID has definitely affected the food industry because you see, like, all the Zomato deals with restaurants, and there are a lot of restaurants. I mean, 95, more than that, 95% of restaurants have closed during the pandemic, and some of them are not even now operational anymore. So obviously there was a lot of effort, but then there were new techniques and new ideas, which through which we are trying to get back into the market and like help the market into getting back, the economy to getting back, because the food industry has really been hit with this. I mean, for some time people didn't even trust this thing that like you cannot even order food from outside. I'm sure a lot of people still have that apprehension. But I think this is gradually improved now because people have taken so many steps towards safety. Like we were anyway doing that, and now there are more steps towards safety. Let's say we have first we had safety measures from the Indian audit system, FSSAI. Now we have it from WHO as well, and we follow everything. We make the restaurants make sure that the restaurants follow everything. So yeah, I mean, so it has probably improved. I mean, it has improved a lot actually. The restaurants are getting open again, and I mean, the market is improving, the economy is improving. So that's happening definitely, and yeah, I mean, things are definitely getting better.
Definitely, I don't think anyone saw, the pandemic coming, and I'm sure it affected not only the food industry but a lot of other industries as well. Can you tell us some of the challenges you all faced? Because I think everyone's faced, different kinds of challenges with COVID. But specifically in your area, what have been some of the challenges faced during COVID?
So a lot of problems are like, in my area, it basically was that they asked the shops to be closed during the weekends. The shops and the restaurants have to be closed during the weekend. I mean, I don't think that makes sense. You make them open the entire weekday and then you just close them up in the weekend. So small things. And apart from that, when related to food, like there was a lot of apprehension that the person who will be delivering your food will become, could be the problematic person. Okay, but then there were checks in place to check their temperature every time when they arrive at the restaurant, and sanitize their hands, sanitize the packet, and cover it up properly. So all these things, like they were initially challenges because people were very apprehensive about ordering from outside. But when they saw these things getting in place, then I mean it gradually became okay.
Right. What were the specific call to actions and solutions you all came up? Because I think when it hit, a lot of us did not know how to, manage a business during the pandemic. So, what were some of the
Yeah.
call to actions and solutions you all came up with when you all figured out that, what, this is the issues that are happening?
So basically, like at that point of time, the dining out section was not happening basically. So the focus was on ordering, and even people were apprehensive even with ordering. Okay, so there were a lot of things that happened. I mean, like first there were very less orders at that point of time when this all started, but gradually there were checks that were kept in place. Like if you are apprehensive about the restaurant safety, then the restaurant should follow WHO protocol. If you're apprehensive about the driver's safety, then the driver will get his temperature checked and his hands sanitized. If you're worried about anything that might happen to your food on the way, then you take out the food from the disposable bag, you can put it in the containers from your home, and then you heat it in the microwave for 30 seconds, and it is good to eat. So these are all the things and awareness that Zomato has tried to put into the market, and through this, I mean, the apprehension has really reduced. I mean, we are seeing a huge jump. People are actually becoming finer every day because the graph is also going down. So yeah, I mean, it only makes sense.
Very true, very true. And yeah, I think now things have been settling down. Mentees, if you all have any questions related to the webinar today, you all can post in the Q&A section at the bottom of the screen. We will be coming to the mentee questions very soon. So Vansh, are there any specific tools and softwares that you use to manage data and understanding of, operations? Can you tell us about a couple of tools and softwares?
Yeah, so basically, operation doesn't really need so much of dashboards, but like, yeah, I mean, we use our internal dashboards which help us in managing the daily work and making it easier at for everyone basically. So that we do, like we have internal dashboards that our tech team has made up for everyone to use. Those are there. Then apart from that, for data analysis, a lot of things that I use, a lot of tools that I use, they are available for everyone, and I think everyone can use them and learn from them. Like there is PHP My Admin, you can learn SQL over there. You can learn R on R Studio. You can learn Python on what do we have? We have this thing. Yeah, Jupyter Lab. So you can use all these things and you can learn these things on your own. Apart from that, you can do data visualization. Then there are a lot of things to learn in data analysis. So, yeah, I mean, these are the tools and these are free for all. I think people should make use of that.
Okay. Do you have any idea on, where students can, learn these respective any certifications or apps or websites that you would recommend they should start working? Because a lot of our students are, college or young professionals who want to move into
Yeah.
different roles.
I think Udemy had a lot of free courses a while back, and I think a lot of people have also enrolled for this at that point of time. I'm not sure if they are there now, but they're still very cheap, okay? And you can enroll for that. You can enroll for a course in SQL, and SQL is the easiest language to learn for data analysis. So I think if anyone is really interested in data analysis, then they should really start with SQL. Then you can do SQL. So you can try Udemy. I can also tell you a few websites which are actually really easy. Like there is W3 School.
Okay.
Um, am I clearly audible to you?
Yes.
Okay. So there are websites like W3 Schools. You can use that. You can use Tutorials Point. So these are there. And apart from that, I think Udemy would be a good place because you get all the tutorials and everything in place, and you don't really have to find it everywhere. So if you can shell out a little bit of money, then I think Udemy is a place you can learn from.
Makes sense. Makes sense. What, according to you, are important metrics to be measuring for a business?
Okay, firstly, I think what I know about my product is that customer satisfaction is really important. Okay, like this is a product that is made only for the customers because we want to make sure that safe and hygienic food is delivered to them. So for my this thing, customer satisfaction is really important. And apart from that, I think the product should also be profitable. So these two things are really important. Like if you have customer satisfaction but you're not profitable, then it's not going to make any sense because you won't be able to have the product for very long. So I think both these things go hand in hand and they are both very important to have a profitable product and to have great customer satisfaction.
Makes sense. All right. With the pandemic coming, where do you see, like, even the food industry, how are we progressing, and what are your thoughts on, what will happen in the upcoming months?
I think like I have seen this in a few countries in Europe where they basically like they are putting film around the table and everything so that the person who sits in that is completely safe from any other air or atmospheric conditions around. So I think that can happen in a few restaurants in India. I think maybe the really expensive ones, I guess. So that could be there. And apart from that, everyone is anyway following these protocols. Like they get their restaurant sanitized daily, and like your temperature check happens. Your like for example, if you have any sort of luggage, then your luggage is sanitized whenever you enter the restaurant at the entrance. So all these things are happening. I mean, for the time being, until this pandemic is there, I think these things will continue to happen. So maybe after a while, after 3, 4 years, when we finally do have a vaccine, we might be able to get over all of it. But yeah, I mean, at this point of time, this does seem to be normal now.
Definitely. So we have a lot of students who want to start up different businesses or come from different ideas that they have and different backgrounds. Now, because you are from a data and operations role, it's equally important. And I think from your job role, as you explained, to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and accordingly make informed decisions. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us how important is a data and operations role for a business, especially with the pandemic that's come up, and what decisions it helps you make in your daily roles?
I think data is nothing but an insight into what the users or the merchants basically want. Okay, like if you have data about what people are doing across the country, then you can see who would require this at this point of time. Like there are some places in India where the online ordering thing was not launched a while ago, and because people were really looking and searching for it, that do we have online ordering in this city? So that's why we had to launch it over there so that people can actually use the benefit of that. So these are the things that data helps us in. Like it helps us give an insight about what a user expects out of your product. So yeah, I think data is a really important thing for any product, especially any internet product for the time being. Like you have an internet product, then you definitely need to know how people are taking it.
Definitely, yeah. And I think, initially it was an issue, but I think the fact that, Zomato had already launched it earlier where people were ordering online, it became easier for people to still order. But yeah, I'm sure the, consequences and, initially it must have, faced a huge issue for Zomato as well. We have a
Yeah, I
couple
mean,
of questions, yeah.
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, no, we have a couple of questions from the mentees. Students, if you have any questions, you can put in the Q&A box. We will be looking at questions. So Rishabh is asking, my aim is to get into the career of data science. Can you give me some tips on how do I go about it?
Okay, so for data science, you basically need to be adept with, let's say, SQL and one of R and Python. Okay, I think you should go with Python because Python is the most important programming language, which also works as a data language right now. So, like if you study Python, then you would have an idea about how programming can be done and how data science can be done. So both of these things are covered with Python. So definitely learn Python. If you want to learn Python, you can get a course on Udemy. So there are a lot of websites also which can teach you for free, and you can refer to them also. Like for example, W3 Schools can teach you Python, at least the basics. So I think you should go for it. Then apart from that, I think you should also learn SQL. SQL is easy; it won't take up a lot of your time, but it's definitely worth it. Okay, like you will be able to solve small level questions with SQL very easily. Apart from that, I think you will definitely need to study Google spreadsheets. Yeah, like there are small formulas in your MS Excel which you think are not very important, but they could be really important in your day-to-day work. So I think these three things, if you do, then you'll be good to start with data science anywhere, I guess.
Lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that. Somebody's asking, what was the most problematic factor did you face to start Zomato again during the lockdown?
So after lockdown, the most important factor was, I guess, the trust factor because people were really wary about what they are eating, and I mean it's a new pandemic and nobody really knows about it. So people are also very cautious, and I guess they are shocked. So that was the important thing, and like it took a while to get that trust. But when we had systems in place, like I told you about these things, the WHO protocols were launched and the SSSAI protocols were launched. When these were done, then I think people started feeling safer in ordering food from outside.
Okay. So Aryan is asking, how can we get into this field? So I think data and operations field, and what is like the job opportunities and future scope in this respective field?
Okay, so data, whenever you talk about data, the most important thing about data is in consultancies. Okay, so consultancies are the most like they would require the data people the most. Okay, but I in the recent times, not only consultancies, like a lot of internet product companies also have started looking for data people. So For example, you look at companies like Zomato, there is Swiggy, there is Urban Club. I think it has changed its name, Urban Company. Yeah. So these kind of companies, all these internet companies, all the apps that you download in your phone, all of them, they need data science students. So I think this is a very rich field right now. So this should be something that this should be focused on right now, because since we are moving more and more towards the internet, the this field is really rising. So I mean, every day I see there is a scarcity of data people in some team or the other. So I think this is a very up and coming field. I mean, if you study data thoroughly, then you will definitely get into something good. Plus, data is also something that that can lead you to more product understanding. So if you do that, then you are also open for the role of product managers. So yeah, that's that. Like, an understanding of data is very important to actually be a product manager. So that's it.
Okay. A lot of people, entrepreneurs want to start off their businesses in this particular point of time. What are your thoughts on the same? Like, should they go ahead with it or probably like, stage it out to put up their business later on?
I think it is more about them, like, I think if you think that your product will be very helpful at this point of time, then definitely go ahead and launch it, because I don't think there will be a better time. Okay. Like, for example, all these sanitizer companies that have opened up all of a sudden. So this is the time for them. And I mean, if you feel like your product will be really helpful, if not about this time, like if it will be helpful at any point of time, then I think you should go ahead with it. And I mean, if at some point of time you will anyway have to start it if you want to, then I think you should really go ahead with it.
Definitely, definitely. And so, what are your thoughts? Because you're working at an organization like Zomato, if anybody wants to apply for internships or job opportunities, how can they apply to these organizations?
Okay, firstly, there is a careers portal page. There you can like, you can go in whatever is open, check whatever is open, and probably after that you can reach out to someone on LinkedIn, and if that person really likes the profile, then he will definitely refer you. He or she will definitely refer you. So that's it. And like, right now, referrals mean a lot in Zomato. So yeah, I think if you reach out to Zomato through someone who's already working there, then I think that's better.
Okay. What about networking? Now, somebody who wants to, run a business as well, what are your thoughts on networking and what, profile should they be building on to, network and meet more people in the field?
I think for networking, you should really be a PR person, if I'm not wrong. Like, and I think networking is good at any point of time. Like, if you want to start a new business, if you want to find a better job, for any point of time, I think networking is a really important thing. So, yeah, I think that is something that should continue to happen. I mean, that doesn't have to stop at any point of time.
Okay. So somebody's asking, what are the skills required for the field of data and operations?
What are the skills required for data and operations? Okay.
Yes.
So basically, you need to be adept with strategizing. Okay, like, you have a product, and firstly, you need to be adept with strategizing, and strategy comes through data analysis. About data analysis, I told you, like, you should learn a few languages. If you're good with them, then you're definitely suitable for a role in data and operations. I mean, this role is mostly about strategy at this point of time. So yeah, and strategies developed only by looking at the data and figuring out of what we can do with it. So I think, yeah, strategy is the most basic element of this role, and then you can go ahead and learn a few languages that are related to data.
Okay. So somebody's asking, are there opportunities in data and operations if you're not from a technical background?
Are there? I'm sorry, I didn't get your question.
Yeah, are there any opportunities in data and operations if you're not from a technical background?
I don't think, like, there are a lot of people who are who are working in the tech teams in different companies, and they're not really from a tech background. Like, for example, someone has studied mechanical engineering, but if that person knows Java, then he can definitely work on Java. So I don't think being from a technical or a non-technical background is so much of a problem, as long as you know what you're going to do in the job. For example, if you know SQL and but you've done a BCom, I mean it's fine as long as you're really good with SQL. You definitely will have to prove that you are really good at SQL after doing a BCom, maybe. But yes, I mean I'm sure you will learn something.
Definitely. So, we also want to know how much would you say is stats involved in data and operation statistics?
Statistics, okay, like actually a lot of it is involved, and you do not realize how much statistic is involved in data analysis until you download the data on a spreadsheet or MS Excel. So when you go there, then you realize that this, like sometimes you might have as much as a lakh of rows, and like AZ. I mean, like there's a lot of data sometimes, okay, and then you have to let's say make a pivot table or something. So that is what statistics mean, okay. So statistics is really involved in this thing. I mean, if you don't want to do that through MS Excel, then obviously you can go to some data visualization tool which can help you with that. But again, statistics is quite an integral part of this role. Like you have your data, then how are you going to show it to others? Like you can't just go and tell them this is the row, find the column AZ and find your values. So you have to show it to them, and that can only be done through statistics. So quite integral actually.
Okay. So, Aditya wants to know what entrepreneurial hacks have you developed to stay focused and productive in your day? Very
Okay,
interesting
so
question.
first of all, yeah, actually, so entrepreneurial hacks that I've developed. So firstly, it's like uh, I mean, some of you might have this problem that you can't sit on a chair for 4 5 hours continuously. So I start my day with like finishing the major chunk from 9 to 12, okay, and after that I can just take a break for half an hour, work for another 1.5 hours, or take a break for. So these are the things like. mm, I think I don't know if that's an entrepreneurial hack, but I think that's definitely a hack for my day-to-day work. And apart from that, if we talk about business in terms of business, and I can say a good entrepreneurial hack would be to keep your users happy. So, like if you are polite to your users and the people who are using your product, then I think that is pretty good. That should be what a good entrepreneurial hack should be basically.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So, Abhishek wants to know what precautions do you take to reduce the spread of COVID through delivery?
Okay, so there are a lot of threats. There are obviously a lot of threats, but the precautions that are taken are firstly, like your food is prepared from people who are following all the WHO protocols at the restaurant. After that, like if you want to check that, then you can go on the Zomato blog and actually read about it. And I think you should because that'll clear out some of your suspicions, which I might not be able to clear. So yeah, that like all your food that is being prepared is prepared under strict WHO protocols. After that, there is let's say when our delivery boy arrives at the restaurant. So the person who delivers your food to your restaurant, to your home, that person, his temperature is checked, he is sanitized, and the packet in which your food is kept is also sanitized. Then that packet is delivered to you. That person is always supposed to wear a mask. He's supposed to wear gloves, and then he's supposed to deliver the food at your home. So these are the precautions that there. Like after that, also there's an additional step. Like you can take out the food from the packet, then you can put it in your containers. You can microwave it for 30 seconds to a minute, and I mean heating does kill the germs. So that's an additional step.
Makes sense.
These are all the precautions.
That's great. Ashwita is asking, I'm starting the work of sanitizing, how to tie up with other companies. Can you give any suggestions?
How to tie up? I don't think like. I'm not so sure if I can answer this, but I think there will be a like. I don't think Zomato has tied up with someone like this, but there could be utilities in, let's say, malls, or there could be utilities in. Yeah, I mean, I think malls and airports. These are the places which constantly sanitize people. Like they have to sanitize their luggage also. They sanitize the like people have to get sanitized. Yeah, I think that's my best suggestion about this. I'm not really sure if I would be the best person to answer that.
No worries. I'm sure, like, yeah, I think you can still like try out and see if it works out, and like probably drop in LinkedIn or reach out to people who would be interested in it.
Yeah,
Chirag
exactly.
is asking, are the precautions that are being taken hampering the productivity of Zomato in any way? And how did the lockdown affect the revenue of the firm?
Okay, so the precautions hampering the productivity of Zomato, I don't think so. Like I know it's an additional few steps. Okay, like you have to take additional few steps, but that's okay because I mean that is kind of the need of the hour. Okay, so I don't think this is hurting Zomato in any way. Instead, it's helping because like you are trying hard to get the trust of the users, and that's good. So I don't think it's hampering Zomato in any way. Apart from, what was the other part of the question? I think it
Uh,
was lockdown after the revenue. Okay. So
yes.
the revenue, yeah, I mean, every company's revenue has gone down after lockdown initially, but I think this company is back on track. And I don't know if I know much about that, but I'm definitely sure the company is managing.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Shivangi also wants to know, how do you take on experiments when you want to start with something new? Like if you're releasing probably a new product in the market, or you want to figure out if this is working or not, or do you take a survey? What are your steps of, experiment?
Sometimes, like there could be different steps. First could be you directly launch it and then you see the user response to it, and that can be done through data easily. The other is like you do it in bits and pieces. Like first, whenever you're launching a website, then have you don't have a lot of functionalities in the beginning, but when you see that people want this, they want this, you keep on improving the website accordingly. So it could be done in more than one way. I think survey could also like a survey should definitely be taken before. Like you can't just go and give everybody a product that they don't need. So uh, yeah, I think a survey would definitely be required, and then you should do it in stages. Not do not just go all out. Do it in stages. I think that would be a smarter way to deal with it.
Okay. Lovely. So, I think which sector in Zomato you think was affected the most uh, because of the pandemic?
The most effective.
Yes.
Yeah, I think dining out right now because the dining out services are not operational right now. So yeah, I think that is affected, but I'm sure as soon as things go back in place. I mean, it has already started, so it'll go back to normal very soon. I mean, more sooner than we will all realize.
Okay, brilliant. So I
Yeah.
think it's a very informative session, because I think a lot of questions came up related to also entrepreneurship, data and operations, and also Zomato. One last question before we wrap up this session. Aditya wants to know: is there any popular entrepreneurial advice do you disagree with?
Is there any popular entrepreneurial advice that I disagree with? Uh, Yeah, I think people who are, like some entrepreneurs think that working day and night is actually good, but I think like you should always be present for your work and everything. You have to be there 24/7. I disagree with that. Like, I think if it is a mix of personal and professional, then it's better. So I think that is some professional advice that I would disagree with.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you so much, Vansh. This is a very informative session. We're very, happy to, have you on board and, share your experiences about Zomato as well. If we had a couple of questions from the mentees, which you, happily answered as well. Do you have any last piece of advice for anybody who's looking to probably start up their business during the pandemic?
Yes, I think they should try their best and give it a shot. I mean, you will have to do it anyway, and if you want to do it, then it's never the most suitable time. You should just start it right now. So all the best for that, and I think you should go ahead with it.
Lovely. So for everyone who wants to, start up their business, go for it, as Vansh has said, and I wish you all the very best. Don't let something like the pandemic, stop you. Thank you so much, Vansh, for coming on board and delivering this webinar. We wish you all the very best as well.
Thank you. Thanks. I wish all the best to you too.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vansh, and a huge shout out to the Qfuss team as well for bringing amazing mentors like Vansh. We'll drop in their link in in the chat section so you all can reach out to amazing mentors like Vansh as well. Wish you all the very best, mentees, and take care and stay safe.
Thank you.